For those of us who are in the supplement business, we really never realize how much power the pharmaceutical companies have. The following is a summary of a CNN special investigation of Pfizer. Now you can imagine being charged with a crime, but an imaginary friend takes the rap for you. This is what happened when Pfizer, which is the world's largest drug manufacturer, got caught illegally marketing the drug Bextra, a painkiller that was removed from the market in 2005 because of safety concerns. When the criminal case was announced in the fall of 2009, the prosecution indicated that this was a clear message to Big Pharma that tough enforcement will follow. The result, however, even though prosecution was victorious, was one that showed the power and major pharmaceutical manufacturers have, even when they break the law. In 2001, Bextra was about to hit the marketplace. Bextra was among a group of new class of drugs known as COX-2 inhibitors. This class of drugs was supposed to be safer than the generic drugs available, but cost 20 times that of the generics. Pfizer and its marketing partner Pharmacia planned to sell Bextra as a treatment for post-surgical acute pain. However, in 2001, the FDA said Bextra was not safe for patients at high risk of heart attacks and strokes. Bextra was approved by the FDA only for the treatment of arthritic pain and menstrual cramps. The FDA rejected its use for acute post-surgical pain. The promotion of drugs for purposes other than those approved by the FDA can put patients at risk. For that off-label promotion is against the law. If we prosecute Pfizer, a lot of people who work for the company who haven't engaged in criminal activity would get hurt. And this was a quote of one of the federal prosecutors. It's hard for the average person to comprehend the billions of dollars that were at stake. So sales managers of Pfizer across the country were touting the use of Bextra to anyone who used the scalpel for a living. A sales manager in Florida emailed his sales reps scripted sales pitch, which falsely gave Bextra a clean bill of health, all the way up to a 40 milligram dose, which was twice what the FDA approved. Pfizer and Pharmacia used a multi-million-dollar medical education budget to pay doctors as speakers and consultants to tout Bextra. There was an internal marketing plan to train physicians to serve as public relations spokespeople. It was stated that they pushed the envelope so far past any reasonable interpretation of the law that it's simply outrageous. Pfizer's chief compliance officer explained, in a large sales force, successful sales techniques spread quickly, and also stated that Pfizer top executives were not aware of the sales practice until they were shown evidence by the federal prosecutors. In 2005, Bextra was removed from the marketplace, and half of its $1.7 billion in profits were from off-label use. What made Pfizer too big to nail? Because any company convicted of a major healthcare fraud are not involved in Medicare and Medicaid payments. So the deal was cut. Instead of charging Pfizer, the federal prosecutors would charge Pharmacia and Upjohn, a subsidiary of the So a deal was cut. Instead of charging Pfizer, the federal prosecutors would charge Pharmacia and Upjohn, a subsidiary of Pfizer's. And CNN found out that the subsidiary is nothing but a shell company whose only function was to plead guilty in the Bextra case. Follow this. According to court documents, Pfizer Incorporated owns Pharmacia Corporation, which owns Pharmacia, and Upjohn LLC, which owns Pharmacia and Upjohn Company LLC, which in turn owns Pharmacia and Upjohn Company Incorporated. It is the great-grandson of the parent company. As a result of this, Pharmacia and Upjohn Company Incorporated were excluded from the participation in Medicaid and Medicare payments, despite the fact that they never even sold one pill or capsule. And Pfizer was free to sell its product to federally funded health programs. 2 years later, Pharmacia and Upjohn Company Incorporated stepped up to plead guilty to take the rap for the parent company. Pfizer paid nearly $1.2 billion in criminal fine for Bextra. It It was the largest fine the federal government has ever collected. Pfizer also paid $1 billion to settle a batch of other civil suits, even though it denied wrongdoing on allegations that it illegally promoted 12 other drugs. To prevent this from happening in the future, Pfizer has set up a system to spot future signs of illegal promotion of drugs. The system was more or less mandated by the federal government, and for the next 5 years, Pfizer must disclose payments to doctors and top executives. Pfizer has said it has learned its lesson, but let's face it, drug company profits are so great that $2 billion in penalties can only just be a cost of doing business. Wouldn't it be nice to have an imaginary friend to take all the blame for you? Just as Wall Street was too big to fail, Pfizer was too big to nail.